We create worlds. And so, yes, indeed, we do.
There it is.
And we created a lot of good swag off the back of that theme.
I think employees left with probably 50 items of merchandise.
Yes.
We worked that long.
Well, since we didn't pay them,
right? Every few weeks there was a new thing.
This is what we did. Yes, this is how we got along. Until we made any money, until Richard finally shipped the next Ultima and Chris shipped Wing Commander. I mean, we were like living on the edge.
Next to the wall.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember there was a giveaway of T-shirts in the Origin West building? Like there was this huge pile of T-shirts that had to be given away. You remember that?
Well,
they'd been in some warehouse
frequent
too long and weren't getting really used up, like our Ultima 5 T-shirts.
Some old ones. Yeah. And I've got about a dozen actual Ultima 5 T-shirts still in plastic.
I haven't got any plastic.
Still in plastic. I mean, they're like preserved. Perfect. That's my retirement fund.
Yeah, they would work on eBay. Once Richard gets his Kickstarter thing going, and that adds a lot of value to all that. Then you can pounce, you say.
Have them sign everything, right?
Right.
Personalize it.
So let's see. What was the last Origin product that you focused your efforts on?
That I did, it was Strike Commander.
And what were your memories of Strike Commander?
That it took a really long time to get done.
Yeah, how about
really long time to get done. I think we, like so many products over the last 20-some years that I recall, we end up launching them, debuting them at trade shows and to the press and with covers multiple times before the public ever gets to see them, before we get to have them in our hands and play them.
It seems like Origin mastered the art of the CES show presentation better than delivering on time.
Oh yeah. No, well, because again, when product development's not quite done, marketing must step in and tap dance and do the dog and pony show and all that kind of stuff.
I remember we all busted our balls to produce that Strike Commander CES demo.
With
the flying over the landscape. And all that.
Pretty awesome. If we released it then, people would have.
Yeah, he said plenty of stuff about texture mapping and all the other stuff that was brand new and pretty secret at the time. And
it was, no, very innovative.
Between that point and the release of the game, a lot of other people released games with texture mapping in them.
Yep.
I think that was the turning point where you start to realize we shouldn't be telling everyone everything that we're doing.
Right. But you still think it's one thing to think about it and talk about it. It's a whole other thing to actually implement it. I mean, everybody who writes code knows how hard it is to really get all these things to work and work well and work bug-free and be a quality experience. I mean, it sounds nice, but sounds simple, but it's not. And but sometimes there's some brilliant people at some other companies out there going, "Oh, very good idea. Yeah. I think I get it." And boom, they go to work, and and they can sometimes upstage you.
Right. So now there's a little bit less of secret sauce spillage.
Yep. People play it a little closer to the vest, but also I think for quite some time we've not had as much innovation in the game space. A lot of it follows hardware trends. So as we move on to new platforms, and we're now moving deeply into mobile technologies and on tablets and smartphones and that kind of stuff. So we're innovating to the technology. But we haven't really been innovating the actual game design and the fun factor as much.
Right.
So that's a whole other ball game.
Right.
But right now we're in a period where there's a lot of moving pieces on the technology side, and so it's hard to also innovate on the game side when the hardware you're developing on is constantly changing at the same time. I mean, right now it's as complicated a time technologically as it was back in the 80s when we were developing and porting and creating products on 7 different US platforms plus another 3, 4, 5 different platforms in Europe, another 4 or 5 in Japan. I mean, it was crazy to get your product out there to the audience all around the world on so many different platforms. And now, thanks to the internet, it's a common receiving experience. I mean, everybody wants to play the same game. If it's multiplayer, or let alone massively multiplayer, you want to play together with your friends. But you're playing on all different hardware, different browsers, through different social networks, and every day you walk in and somebody changes something in that food chain, you don't know what. They didn't send you a memo overnight.
Right.
You walk in and it's not working. It's broke again. And so, those companies who specialize and just focus on, I just do iPad games or something like that, keep their life relatively simple, but their audience is somewhat limited.
Yeah, and also the business model can move on them. It's like goalposts.
And it does.
Before they know it,
right.
Just an iPad game isn't enough.
Right, it does, totally. But, those of us, and again, at Portalarium right now, we are developing across all the different technologies. Mm-hmm. And because of our last 10 years at NCSoft, building massively multiplayer online games, we're deep into the whole belief of continuing to connect large groups of people together. In this case, it doesn't have to be strangers. It could be your friends, thanks to the social grid now. And so connecting all your friends together across all these technologies in real time is not easy. It is just not trivial. I mean, it's not just on the client side and what you experience.
The idea is simple, but once you talk to a programmer about actually doing it, then they go, well, we have to do this, and then this, and then this.
Well,
and
the back end stuff, what goes on at the server, and the servers are no longer in our own control necessarily, so we don't have our own server farms and the data centers and that kind of stuff. We, everything is housed at Amazon on their giant.
You guys had that
server
inside
farms.
The building at NCSoft, didn't you?
Yeah, well, inside the building, and then we had big data centers in Washington, D.C., and in Dallas, and in Los Angeles to service.
But it was under your control.
To cut down time, to lag around the country. And then we had data centers in Europe and in Frankfurt and then in Asia. But these days, all that stuff is in the cloud. So we're not directly involved in all that, but all of those things that need to talk to each other seamlessly, and all those hits. I mean, even our game Ultimate Collector, which is now finally coming to market after 2 years in development for the social grid and